On today's episode of the Bookie and Bettors Show, we're going to take a look and see just who put the brakes on all these Major League Baseball contenders. What did we learn from preseason week 2? And then breaking down the AFC and NFC West predictions all around. Stay tuned.
It's time for the Bookie and The Bettors Show. If you're a sports fan, now it's time to play the odds and make every bet count. New episodes post every Thursday on your favorite streaming service. Now introducing Rob Kowalski, the Bookie, and Randy White, the Bettor.
Welcome back to the Bookie and Bettors Show. Once again, I am your host, Robert Kowalski, joined by my friends and colleagues, Nick Schulte, Randy White.
Great day.
Gentlemen, once again at the Book of Baldini's, plenty of action to be had. Can't wait to break down this week's episode right from the very top. As we're reaching the end of August, I want to take a look at Major League Baseball. So.
Wait. I'm devastated today. I really am. I mean, we're going to talk about all these great things going on, but did you guys see the news? I am really devastated from yesterday. Devastated. JLo and Ben are getting a divorce. So it's ruined all my projected betting now. Because, I mean, it was a marriage of a lifetime.
So you accounted in your White 4000 the Affleck and
I didn't.
Marriage?
No, I didn't.
Because I feel like I took the under on 6 months.
Wait, actually, didn't we? Like, if Chris goes back and takes a look at our archives, didn't we actually talk about how long this would last? Didn't we set the total somewhere around 6 months or something? I don't know.
I mean, is she going back to A-Rod or?
Well, she's getting up there with Zsa Zsa Gabor now, right? With the number of marriages. I mean, it's like 5 or 6, right?
Okay, Randy, I know our show tends to skew. I think I know our demographic at this point. That one goes back a little too far. But you know what? I'm going to go ahead and save you. Let me make you feel a little bit better, right? And we can put this beside. Just understand that I think that they're going to be okay.
I'm going to start humming the Green Acres song now whenever I see.
Okay, Zsa Zsa Gabor and Green Acres. I'm going to assume they were both pre-internet, correct?
Oh, yeah. But Jennifer's up there now, so I'm going to start humming Green Acres when I see her.
I'm going to do you a little favor here so you could get along, and then we could talk a little about betting on sports here for both Ben and for Jennifer. Turn out the lights, the party's over.
It's rubbing off, folks. It's rubbing off. It's only taken 40 shows, but it's rubbing off.
I forgot my earplugs.
Guys, who put the brakes on the Major League Baseball playoff contenders? To be honest, seriously, this is starting to shape up as one of the weirdest baseball seasons in a decade. Why do I say that? I took a look at this a little bit closer. So we're about 5 weeks, 6 weeks out, right, with about how much baseball is left. Here's the dozen best records in Major League Baseball right now. So the Phillies, Dodgers, and Orioles and Yankees all have 73 wins or so. Guardians, Brewers next up with 72. Twins, Padres with 70. And then Royals, D-backs, Astros, and Braves from 69 down to 66 wins. Great run differentials, right? The Yankees are plus 116, the Royals plus 109, Brewers 106, and the Phillies plus 102. But, guys, the best team in Major League Baseball is on pace for 95 wins. The last year without a 100-win team was 2014, 10 years ago. Similarly, the last time the top run differential in baseball was less than plus 231 was 2014. It's barely half that at the moment. All of which is to say, a year after a 90-win wildcard team faced an 86-win wildcard team in the World Series, the 2024 championship looks as it's up for grabs as it's been in a very long time.
Well, and here's the thing, and I know we've talked about this all year. Major League Baseball is going to set a record for most blown leads after the 5th inning. The pitching clock has affected everything. Even your great teams, and you look in these last 2 weeks, again, as we mentioned a couple weeks ago, the bullpens, the middle relief, and the closers for these good teams are losing. And you look at a great team like, let's say, where the Orioles were. Orioles are great against the Yankees, great against the Red Sox. They turn around and they can't beat the Chicago White Sox. I'm really telling you, this pitching clock is affected, and maybe that's what Major League Baseball wanted. But did it even out the playing field with some of these other teams? I don't know. The records are starting to show
baseball,
it.
right?
I mean, you've played lots of sports and you were a D1 athlete throughout the years, and I mean, if we've all been in those situations where you're better than the other team, you're going to win,
yes.
and then all of a sudden it's halftime and you got a 20-point lead difference, and you're
yeah.
like, whoa, why am I getting blown out? And I think that's kind of what we saw a little bit with the Orioles White Sox. But
and
I would definitely agree that the pitching clock is
It's
definitely
made a difference.
Don't forget injuries too. And again, we talk about the Orioles and you talk about the Mariners. Now the Mariners just got Rodriguez back, but they've been banged up all year. Orioles now have 5 starting pitchers on the DL. 3 of them aren't coming back for the whole year. Eflin just went on yesterday. It's a telling tale. I think it's going to be interesting these final few weeks of the season what happens.
So let's start right there, Nick. For you first, American League. Let's just go for the pennant right now. I'll give you A, B, C, D, E. So Orioles and Yankees are in a dead heat right now, plus 275 to win the pennant at the Book of Baldini's. The Houston Astros 5-1. Cleveland Guardians right behind them, plus 550. Or are you taking somebody else?
I'm going to go with Mattress Mac and put the money on the Astros.
At 5-1.
Again, I just think they're winners. They know how to get it done when it comes to crunch time. So might be some signals in there, but
Randy?
As I said 2 weeks ago, watch out for the Astros.
Yeah, you did.
I think they are the team. I think what's going to happen now, again, as I mentioned, the American League East, at the beginning of the year, middle of the year, I would have fired Aaron Boone. But the team is starting to turn around.
Yeah.
And again, it's back to being healthy. When you have Soto and obviously Judge and all those guys healthy, they can put some runs up. And they're going to win a lot of games. You've seen it this week. You're going to win a lot of games. Against Texas, they had to really fight. The bullpen let them down, but they're winning 9-8, 9-6.
They're winning.
That's what you're going to see.
I'd love to see a stat line of teams that kind of come together and fire up, the end of August, beginning of September, and then what their basically postseason record is after that.
It's a very good point.
It's all about getting hot at the right
Peaks.
time.
You're absolutely right.
Hey, watch out for the Oakland Athletics, one of the best records in Major League Baseball since the All-Star break. What's going on there?
Sacramento Athletics.
Oh, thank you very much.
Let's move on to
mathematically, can they even make it? I feel like that they were out in June, weren't
This
they?
is like World Series contention for A's fans.
Let's move to the National League pennant, guys. The odds, ABCDE, the Dodgers plus 175, the Phillies plus 225, the Braves 8-1. 8-1 off the Braves. San Diego Padres 8-1. Randy Wyke, or will it be other for your pennant pick?
Well, you mentioned, last week I said the Padres. No way. You asked me about the Padres.
Yes, I did.
What has got into them?
Fourth choice.
Cronenworth, I thought, was having a horrible year, and I think he was a key element in the middle part of the lineup, getting on base for Machado and the group. But they've actually turned it around. Cease has been phenomenal on the mound
really
for them.
good. Yeah.
So, I still have the Yankees in the American League with the Orioles. I think one of them is going to do it. Orioles, I love the youth. Huh?
Didn't you just say
I just
Astros?
said watch out for the Astros.
Said watch out, right?
Okay.
It's different
But
from
when
he's making
I still
a wager.
think when it gets to a short series, and be it, let's call it a 3-game series, you go 2-2 in a 7-game series, then you get down to those last 3 games. I don't know if I can trust the Yankees pitching.
I would agree.
So that's why I really like the Orioles and I really like the Astros.
But to come back to NL pennant selection, Randy.
NL, what is going on with the Phillies? Lord, help me. I didn't like the Dodgers, and here we are. They're starting to get healthy again, and I think you watched them this week.
Yep.
If they stay healthy, oh, my Lord. And you got Freddie Freeman back. Mookie's back. Did Muncy play? Has Muncy been playing these last couple of games?
Yes.
I didn't look. So, with that lineup's healthy, I'm still really questionable on Kershaw. I know you're a vet, but I still question him towards the end. But I got to have the Dodgers up there, and I still have the Phillies as the 2 best teams in the National League.
Nick Schulte, NL pennant.
I'm going with the Braves. I think they're pretty good odds at 8-1. Make a deep run, might be able to hedge it a little bit.
Without a doubt, and obviously, if the Phillies are going to win the division, they'll be right there for the wild card, so you're making the playoffs. And then you can go ahead and just see how it unfolds from there. Imagine if they actually had Strider for the whole year.
I'm just curious, what are the odds on the Giants?
Yes, that's right. The team that Randy Wyke is now a fan of the San Diego run. I'm sorry, we're talking about San Diego. We're talking about San Francisco. San Francisco to win the pennant, 60, not 1-6, 6-0 to 1.
Best pitching in Major League
Yeah,
Baseball.
my inside
Starting
baseball source told me to watch out for them. They're going to make a run, but I don't know if I want to put money on
They
that.
can't score runs, but that pitching staff is flat out nasty right now. They're doing well. If you look at their last 36 games, this is the best pitching staff in Major League Baseball.
Doing well to just miss the playoffs.
Yeah. And it's a shame because of the way they started. And then they started making trades. So, again, at the trade deadline, I'm thinking, okay, they're going to get rid of a lot of guys. They held back on some of them. It's nice to see Chapman hitting the ball for them. And, again, Oakland A's, what are you doing, A's? Get rid of everybody.
Speaking of not getting rid of everybody, I actually wanted to spend just like another minute or so on baseball. So Aaron Judge just hit his 300th home run, the fastest to ever do it in Major League Baseball. And I just looked at it as a headline. I didn't even read the story. I just like, yep, okay, Pete did it. So is it just me? Am I isolated here, Nick, in saying that I'm from New York and I just don't really care to even celebrate it? So the question here that I have is Aaron Judge even in the top 20 most popular athletes right now in United States? Is he a top 20 athlete?
If
popularity?
You ask random people, name
your top 20. Is Aaron Judge
I would just
in
say
there?
20 athletes, not necessarily top 20.
Exactly.
Just,
Yeah.
as far as recognition
Good.
goes.
Sure. Current.
I would say 60% of the people would name Aaron Judge in those 20 players.
Okay, so let's use that metric. What of a percentage would you ask if you saw 100 random strangers and asked them, name 20 athletes, would Aaron Judge be there?
I would definitely say 6 people.
6 out of 100?
6 out of 100.
6 out of 10.
I'm kidding. No, he would definitely be up there. I mean, obviously, you're going to have LeBron. You're still going to have Tiger on that list, probably at the top. Tiger hasn't really done much. But he is a phenom, and the young kids of America really love him. So I'm thinking probably 40% of the people would say.
So that's even less than what you say.
And you've heard me bitch about this on the show before, but listen to what you just said about, hey, he hit 300 and I don't really care.
No.
And I really think when it comes to baseball, do stats even matter anymore? I mean, the guy that has all the stats ever still isn't even a
There's
Hall of
two
Fame,
critical stats that the average fan cares about. Home runs and no hitters. Those are the two things
fair.
people
And who's
relate
top
to.
in home runs, both career and for the season?
Oh, I got that one, actually. This is
Your-
right in my wheelhouse.
your
That's
buddy.
right. Hank Aaron.
Okay.
Let's move to football.
Now, did
On
Hank
that
Aaron,
note-
did they have to take a horse and buggy to the games, or did they have cars back
Hank
then?
Aaron, it's actually, we could pull it up anywhere. Archive footage is there. It's even in color for you, Randy.
I am, and while we're on that, and God rest his soul, we just lost Willie. Willie and Hank still, to me, and I would put Barry Bonds in that group as far as hand-eye coordination, the greatest players. I have seen them play, and I thought Willie was phenomenal. I went to just a little story, 3-game Dodger series back in the day with McCovey and Cepeda and the guys. Oh, my Lord. He ran like a deer in the outfield, and from home to first, I'm thinking, who is this guy? And he was older then. Greatest players of all time.
You see, and while you were betting on them, that's how you made your riches.
I should.
That's how you got
I
to
should-
today.
If I would have known, I didn't know back in those days.
For our listeners and gentlemen here at my table, week 2 of NFL preseason has found some really interesting things that have been consistent going back to week 1. Randy said, what are we going to do? How are we going to even understand these kickoff rules? I don't even know what they're doing. I said, Randy, it's going to give more action.
But now I have another complaint because I don't remember you talking about this last week. Part of the NFL football, especially later in a game, if you're behind, is the onside kick.
Okay.
Now the onside kick, I got to tell you when I'm kicking it.
Fourth quarter.
Yeah,
can only do it in the
but I
fourth
got to let
quarter.
you know, and I can only do it in the fourth quarter.
Yes.
And I believe it was the Saints and the Colts in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's called the
start
Sean-
of the second
I'm
half
calling it
when
the
they
Sean
kicked
Payton
in.
rule.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now that is away,
That's right.
and I got to let you know when I'm kicking an onside kick.
That's right.
The odds were already minimal that you're going to recover it, especially late in the game,
But
right?
if I tell you,
Now I got to tell you.
Well, I don't want to dig too deep on it, but what is the official rules and what's considered an onside kick versus a regular kick?
Yeah,
I mean, is there a
it's
distance rule?
10
Can
yards,
I tell you,
yeah.
hey, I'm going to onside kick it and then kick it all the way down the field?
Well,
Maybe
technically,
not.
you can
I mean,
pooch
it's-
kick it 40 yards, and it could still be considered an onside kick.
do you know what will do away and nullify your concerns about onside kicking?
Okay, here we go.
Be better.
Be better.
Just be better. Then you don't have to worry about onside kicks.
You hear that?
I think what he's saying is defense wins championships.
Well, get those depth charts up, too. All right, let's get the depth charts going.
NFL preseason in week 2. And if you look through the first 2 weeks of preseason, unders are now 26-6. Let me repeat that. If you're playing totals in preseason football, if you're betting all unders, you are now 26-6. That is a
I blame the bookmakers on that one.
unstoppable record.
You know,
yes,
you guys look at
we are
this
zigging.
kickoff rule and you're just like,
We
oh,
are
everybody's going to
zagging.
go over, and you're just juicing it. Yeah.
But don't we have this discussion every year? I mean, you got the
Not in this
seconds
one,
playing
Randy.
the
No,
thirds.
no.
You got the thirds
No,
playing
no,
the
no.
fours.
Randy, let me explain. So, of course,
Okay.
Denver, going back to the final game, 6.5-point favorite. They routed Green Bay 27-2.
Yeah, well, what? Two?
2,
Dos.
as in Dos Equis.
As in safety.
Yes, that's correct. San
So
Francisco.
your defense was the only team.
That's
the
all.
only side
That's all that you
scored.
had. Your offense did absolutely nothing. Okay, so just you
Did-
got to take
did-
notes.
Did they try it onside kick?
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
San Francisco at Pick'em beat the New Orleans Saints 16-10 on Sunday. So dogs overall preseason now lead 17-14 straight up with the one Pick'em. 20-11 against the spread. That's 64.5% against the spread if you're just betting dogs blindly. Home teams 17-15 straight up lead, and now 16-16 against the spread. Nothing to be seen there. However, unders 2-0 on Sunday to close out. 14-2 for the weekend, and a dominating 26-6. Again, 81, a little over 81% clip to bet to the under. So, through 2 weeks, this has been the worst preseason for offenses in recent memory. Randy, going back 7 years to 2017 and looking at weeks 1 and 2 of the preseason, 15.6 points per game, worst. 35% success rate, worst. 6.2 yards per attempt, worse, and 0.9% completion rating is the second worst. Looking only at first quarters, right? Randy wants to always take a look at just let's see who the starters are, right? You would think right there, first quarters when starters are most likely to play. 2.9 points first quarter. That's points per game. It's the worst.
They're not even averaging a field goal.
The yards per attempt is 6. That is the worst by far. So what exactly is it? Randy's mentioned several times. Is it fewer coaches carrying, fewer starters playing, or is it the referees? Nick Schulte.
Ooh, I always like picking on the ref. I
huge-
got some bones to pick after that. No holding calls of Bosa after the freaking
I
Super Bowl.
did some homework for everyone here at the table and for everyone listening or watching us. Thank you so much. Don't forget, like and subscribe while I'm explaining what exactly he's been having. And I really see it. Randy, a huge part of the problem is the referees. I don't always blame refs, okay, but when I do, I'm right. Despite seeing the same number of games being played now for 7 straight years through 2 weeks of preseason football, referees are swallowing their whistles on defensive infractions, and offenses are paying the price, as we are, the viewers.
But have you guys noticed? That might be true. You know what? They're not spending as much time out on the field doing, they've got to practice as well. But all of them now are getting that upper body physique. They're doing a lot of weightlifting, these officials. And I think it's affecting them because they're spending too much time in the weight room. So they look good on TV and they're not out there making the calls.
Okay. But in actuality, when you look at real data,
Oh, okay. All right.
in the prior 6 years, okay, what we're seeing is defensive penalties, right? So in the prior 6 years, we're averaging the very same 228. It's a decrease of 6 penalties from 228 down to 222. right? Nothing close to the 38% decrease in defensive penalties showed this season, weeks 1 and 2. We're seeing a massive drop in several penalty types. What are the top 5? Let's just go over the 3. 57% decline in defensive offsides penalties. There's only 6 this year. There were 14 a year the previous 2, and 15 a year the previous 6.
Well, that one's really easy to tell. Line up the camera, see if he's offsides or not.
And yet they're not. They're not calling it, right? So if the defense is offside and they're not calling it, what does that translate to? More advantage for the defense. You're not getting called. Offense gets stuffed. Decline in roughing the passer, 47%. 8 this year. There was 15 a year the previous 2, 15 a year the previous 6.
I just want to ask the question, and again,
I feel like
and we've
that's
seen
BS
it a little
stat.
bit last year. Are we so hyped on trying to score more points in the NFL that obviously penalties hurt drives? Let's be honest. Is it all the mentality now points in an NFL game, which causes less penalties or in certain cases more penalties?
We've all seen it so many times where, a team is 3rd and 25 and they throw an incomplete pass.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, roughing the passer, automatic first down, and then they go down and score. And how many times have we seen the games change over a questionable penalty? Could have gone either way. You
Right.
know?
Well, I think, and I hope you coaches are listening to this, if you start doing the behind-the-back passes like Patrick Mahomes did last week, you're going to complete some passes for yards. You're going to score more points. Unbelievable play last week. I just think we're so hooked on now reducing the number of exhibition games, reducing the time that you're out there with the depth chart on first, second string teams, and you're more vanilla. Let's be honest. They've only had a few weeks of camp, and even though they had OTAs and all that, you're seeing teams more vanilla, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
If you are a head coach and you're going into a preseason game, what is your goal for that game?
Don't get injured.
Yeah.
I would say
Injuries.
it's to build a team that's going to take you to the Super Bowl.
Well,
or
and
as
I
far
said
as it can.
defense.
So,
I meant offense.
it's
Offense is vanilla because defense is always going to be ahead of the offense in these games early. Early.
What I'm saying is, again, I don't read too much into preseason because their goal is not to win the game. Their goal is to build the team that's going to give them the best chance to make it into the playoffs, make a run, and hoist that trophy at the end of the year. So,
Look, Nick, you very good point there. But Randy made a point just a few minutes ago about points. What is it with the points? Why do we care? Randy, if we go into our book right now and we ask the first 10 people, what do you want to see in an NFL game? Do you want to see 3-0 final? You want to see Iowa? Or do you want to see 35-28? Okay, so there is, with less being called on defenses via DPI, defensive holding, roughing the passer, it has a direct impact on scoring. And if the NFL refs continue to call penalties in the regular season in a similar manner to what they've called in the preseason, it's going to be a hard, ugly watch. Lower scoring clearly for 2024, regardless of kickoff rules. So I don't think the NFL wants that because we as viewers certainly don't want that. And they want to see, how do you make money? You want viewership.
Well, and why would you make these changes with the kickoff and some of these other change when everything is trying to give the offense a better starting field position and more points?
I look at it kind of like the strike zone. Call them, don't call it. Just be fair and be equal on both sides. Don't call the Chiefs for holding, and if you're not going to call the Niners or vice versa.
Well, it's still early, but that's going to be interesting.
Week 3, if we see this continue for week 3, we're going to see a direct impact. We ain't going to see 50s.
Stay out of the weight room, refs.
So as a bookmaker, you're saying, at first with these new playoff rules, you guys were going to up all the totals, and now you're going to cut all the totals.
Yes.
Well, I think he's going to watch it.
So in short, we're going to see the same totals we saw last year. This is what I'm hearing, right?
Well,
because we
and
went up,
back to that
we
point,
went down.
Wait for week 3.
First half, some NFL games, and I don't know what that stat is, but bet the unders in those games because again, you got now this week. I don't know, is any starter playing this week?
Week 3, we probably will be seeing
a few
if there's still some deciding
because obviously cut factor, they're going to be reducing roster. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Clearly, obviously, with NFL season here, the best promotion that we've come up with as an independent sports book at Baldini's, of course, sign up, mobile betting account. we're going to sign you up if you go ahead and make a deposit of up to, let's just call it $200, right? So we're going to go ahead and bonus your account, $200. Stop by the counter for more information. Just head over to baldinis.com. You could see exactly how this new promotion is going to work for this coming football season.
It's 20%, right?
Yeah, and just to clarify, it is
20%.
20% up to $200.
Exactly.
I mean, nobody else in town. I mean, let's be honest. And there's no catch. You got to lose it to give it to you. There's no catch with this. Put it in your account.
It's a
Let's
deposit.
go.
That's all. Guys, I wanted to go and look one final thing here as we started to go and observe who we thought were going to be our division winners. There's one last one before we break and take a look and see what we're going to have for this NFL season. The things that we're going to absolutely concentrate on, and we talked about this in previous weeks, survivor pool selections, and I'll be holding you very accountable, the both of you, with your survivor picks this year, and we'll be giving those out every single episode each week. However, we are now left with the AFC and NFC West division winners. Nick, let's go ahead and start with you. We've seen, of course, 2 preseason games and some things that have started to unfold, some teams that have looked like they've held back. However, from the top down, San Francisco 49ers at the Book of Baldinis is minus 215 to win their division. The Rams follow at plus 350. The Seattle Seahawks 8-1. The Arizona Cardinals improved, but probably not good enough. Not in this division. 13-1. Yes, I could smell the bias.
Yeah,
across
I was
going to
say. I mean, do you really need to ask me who I'm going to pick? I mean, Niners all the way.
It looks like Brandon Ayuk's going to stay.
Fingers crossed. I did pick him up on my fantasy team. So,
Randy Wyke, NFC West. Just make this one easy.
I'm going with the upset here. I'm going to take the Rams to win the NFC West.
Because
can we put some money on that?
you and I will do a little wager off the air. I just like the Rams. Now, again, they've lost the man on the defensive side down there, but I love Matthew Stafford.
Yeah,
I really
Cup
do.
Should be healthy again this year. And
he'll have one.
you got that rookie breakout
what's
last year.
Pakua? What's his kid's name?
Puka
Yeah, that guy.
So I just like
and their
him.
running back's halfway decent too, if I believe.
Kyron Williams is brilliant.
And I'm telling you, the thing you got to remember, the 49ers are a year older, and they're a year older on both sides of the ball. And, you know, you've got the great Warners, you've got all those guys there, but they're a year older.
And also don't forget what we talked about in last week's episode, the incredible strength of schedule against them because of rest or lack thereof for the 49ers.
Well,
this
they
year.
have 2 different scenarios, right, where they play 3 games in 10 days.
Yes.
So I'm going to tell you, that's tough with the injuries. And again, I've said it all year. I mean, guys are bigger, stronger, faster. They're too much in the weight room. So the elasticity, like the old days, not the guys that used to smoke with a pack of cigarettes on the sidelines back in the day, Stabler in that group. But it does hurt when it comes to hamstrings, ACLs, this type of thing. So definitely they're bigger, stronger. They hit harder. But I think we got to really watch that, especially with some of these teams that are veterans.
All right, so with time winding down, let's go ahead and take a look at the AFC West. Randy Wyke, you first. Kansas City Chiefs, minus 280 at the Book of Baldinis to win the AFC West, followed by the LA Chargers, plus 350. The Las Vegas Raiders, 12-1, and the Denver Broncos, 18-1. Randy, 60 seconds.
Well, I'm really impressed with Bo Nix right now. Have you guys watched him for the Broncos?
Yes, you've mentioned him. He's
and
very
I mean,
good.
What's his passing efficiency? It's over 100, right?
He's had a great preseason.
But yeah, it's still the Chiefs. Harbaugh, another year, baby.
Chiefs, Nick Schulte.
Yeah, I don't see how you go against the Chiefs. I mean, yeah.
I thought this was going to be a pretty open and shut. The West, that's why I kind of wanted to save this one for last. I really wanted to wait and see if maybe something may have poured itself out. I know.
And don't forget the behind-the-back passes. I mean, this last week watching that pass.
It's preseason. You're allowed to do whatever you want.
He did he did the LeBron James behind-the-back pass and completed it.
Once again, everybody, thank you so much for joining us on this week's episode.
Oh, wait a minute, Rob. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, this week, if I can.
Of course.
This week, and college football, the season officially starts. We've got our own Nevada Wolfpack playing SMU at home. So Friday night, everybody that comes into the casino, we've got the old beer mugs with the big handle, glass, 32-ounce, Wolfpack football, Baldini's. Everybody gets one. It's a great way to kick off the season. You can put a little soda in it, or if you're like me, you want to get cold beer. Everybody gets one around 5:30. Hang out at Baldini's this week. It'll be a great commemorative kickoff.
This actually does look like a really great mug. And Randy, again, this is for everybody. Whether you're coming on by, doesn't matter, sports, keno, out on the floor, at the bar. Randy, I even actually think I want one. This looks actually really, really good.
They are really cool.
Put my black coffee in it.
You'll see it on the air on the screen. And honey, we can have 2 of those great big beers, and we can still do the hip drop tackle, which has been banned from the NFL.
See you next time, everybody. Have a great, great weekend ahead.
Thank you for listening to the Bookie and the Bettors Show. New episodes post every Thursday on your favorite streaming service.